Hey guys, MDG here. I usually get a lot of emails and messages asking me what the low tones or the whispers sound like on the White's Surf PI dual field metal detector and what to listen for. So I decided to make this video to answer that question. So to begin, you need to set your threshold so it is nice and steady by lowering the gain on the dual field. Don't worry though, lowering the gain will not make you miss out on targets, but it will actually help you to hear more. More of the good deep stuff anyways. So let's take a listen to the type of threshold you should be working with to hear these low tones. Okay, so that's the type of threshold you should be working with. Now let's take a look at the waveform of this threshold to better understand how this works by looking at a graphical representation of this tone. If you're not familiar with audio waveforms, a waveform is pretty much just the shape of an audio signal. So this image here is the waveform of the threshold we just listened to. The top portion is the full waveform, and the bottom portion is the zoomed in version of the same waveform. Now let's play the same threshold audio that we just listened to while watching the live audio waveform of this tone. Okay, now that we understand how that works, let's look and listen to scanning a small 14 karat gold ring across the coil of the dual field. Listen close for the slightest change in the threshold audio. Okay, did you hear it? If you were listening closely, when I scanned the ring further away from the coil, there was the slightest change in the threshold audio. So slight that if you were looking at females on the beach and not paying attention 100%, you might have missed it. Now let's play this again while looking at the live threshold waveform as we scan this ring again. Pay attention. Okay, I hope that made it a little easier to understand. Now let's take a look at the waveform to review what we are looking for in the representation of the threshold tone. So here we have the same waveform we have been working with. As you can see, we have the steady tone, and I'm sure by now you can tell where the gold ring crosses the coil by looking at this. You can see here is a bigger break in the threshold where the gold ring was closer to the coil, and another one right here. Then looking a little closer, here are a couple more further away, making a smaller break in the threshold. Now what about this one? And this one? Did you see them? These two barely break the threshold, but looking at the waveform, you can see that they actually do. So a break this small might be hard to hear if you are not paying attention or if the gain was set too high and you did not have a steady threshold tone. Okay now, watch and listen as I scrub the playhead over this small break. You want to pay attention to the threshold tone as we go over this area right here. I will play it back a few times, so pay close attention as the change in the threshold is very, very slight. Okay, let's slow it down by 50% and then by 75%, as this might help you hear it a little bit better. Did you hear it? That's the sound of gold right there. These low tones or whispers is what you want to be listening for. So now that you understand this, let's watch and listen again without the waveform. By now you should be able to hear the low tones and what you're looking for. great. I think you got it. You can clearly hear when the ring is closer or further away from the coil. Remember, gold is heavy and sinks as deep as it can, so you always want to be listening for these tones. Now don't get me wrong, low tones don't always mean gold, as whispers will appear on other deep targets as well. But most of the time, if it's deep, then it's heavy. Now that we got this, I want to show you the same ring that is being scanned with a high gain and a threshold that's running hot. So what do you think of that? That gain sounded nasty, and it was very hard to hear the low tone, if not impossible, when the gold ring was further away from the coil. Now let's watch and listen to that again, but this time while viewing the waveform associated to the high gain threshold. Okay, how about that? Did that help any? Were you able to see where the gold ring passed the coil by looking at the waveform? I wasn't. So as you can see, it's pretty much the same. If you have a hard time seeing it, you also have a hard time hearing it. Is it possible to detect running the gain high and still hear the low tones? Well, I guess it is, but it's a shot in the dark, as you are just then hoping that the low tone breaks through the noisy threshold, and I do not recommend it. After a while, you will begin to figure out the different tones that the dual field makes, and you will be able to decide if you should dig the target or not. If you're going to dig everything anyways, then I guess that doesn't really matter. But sometimes you might be limited on the time and the water might be real trashy, and digging 50 bottle caps in 2 hours is a good way to tire yourself out and miss out on some good gold that might be nearby. Just because the dual field is an all-metal pulse machine does not mean you cannot learn to discriminate the tones. We will explore some other targets in future videos to show it is possible to discriminate using the dual field. I hope this was helpful to you, and I want to thank everyone who requested a video like this. If you have any questions or would like to see or learn about something in particular, then leave it in the comments section below or send me a message. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Till next time, may the gold be plenty and the pull tabs be few.